Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build NBA edition. I'm Kevin Roberts, joined as always with Taylor Smith. We're going to go over this DraftKings main slate. Only 2 games because they respect college basketball. MLB, not so much. We just knocked out an MLB DFS main slate video. You can check that out at the end of this video or just visit our channel. By the way, you can also get access to all of our core plays, picks, stacks, everything we cover, $5.99 a month over on Patreon. And that also gets you access to our Discord. So definitely head over there and check that out and come join the squad. And we can talk shop leading up into lock. Tonight, it's not going to be quite as intense, obviously, just 2 games, but we're going to try to breeze through it and hopefully help you out. All right, the way we do this, we go position by position, highlighting the top plays of the slate, try to factor in everything as we nudge you in the right direction. If anything we do here does help you, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. All right, so Cade Cunningham leads the way, 47-point fantasy projection. Surprisingly not that owned so far. That is bound to change, though, because a lot of injury news. I'm assuming 10.5K Cade against the Kings is high on your interest list.
Not as of now. There is a lot of injury news that could shake things up, but the value right now is kind of shaky. Like, we're looking at Pistons and Sixers and Miami and maybe Sacramento. Like, I guess that's all the teams on the slate. But as of now, I'm not really getting there a ton, about 20%. I ran 150 lineups. So, like, he's in a chunk of them, but he's not the point guard to whom I have the most exposure early in the day.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously I'm going to have a lot of interest in Cade for 2 big reasons. Number one, he's got one of the best projections of the slate. Number 2, a lot of those injuries are just going to open up volume, assuming those guys are out. And then, like, what else are you going to do on a slate without, like, a Jokic or Giannis or Luka? Like, he is the stud. So I would imagine that ownership ticks up, and I think obviously it's going to be a major priority. I did mention before we went live here, though, it's still worth noting that the Pistons already are locked into the playoffs. They will not be in the play-in tournament. So, yes, they can maybe move up a seed or 2, possibly, but are they going to, like, risk it with Cade being in and out of the lineup with injuries? I don't know. Just something to keep in mind. If he plays, I love him. Right behind him, Tyler Hero, only 6 points behind him, and yet he's 1.5K cheaper. Both he and Bam are on the injury report. A lot of Heat guys, it looks like, are. Obviously, a game with the Sixers is not scary whatsoever. Low total for that game, though, 223. Miami still 113 total. I mean, it's fine. But Hero, if and against the Sixers, looks really good, and he would look better than Cade for sure.
Yeah, the discount's worth it. Like, a balanced build is obviously viable on this slate with Cade really being the only stud. I guess Sabonis, you could say, is a stud, but, you know, it's okay. I think I'm kind of getting more cheap value at point guard than I am paying up here. It's kind of hard to find anything you really want to pay up for. As of now, I'm getting up to Bam more than I am Hero. So that's kind of my stand. But obviously with Bam questionable, that's a bit complicated. Khalil Ware would obviously get a big boost, but we're only talking about point guards. I think Davion, perpetually underpriced.
How dare you bleed the conversation into another position?
You know, Davion has been underprojected for quite a long time. Like, his per minute numbers are way better with Miami than they were with Toronto or Sacramento. I don't know how real it is, but it's been a while now. He's playing huge minutes, even though he never starts. Burks and Hero are questionable. He could start, I guess, if both of them are out tonight. He's just like surpassing the projections every night, playing huge minutes. He's 5'5", so price is coming up, but you can argue he's still too cheap. I'm sure he'll be mega chalk, especially if Miami's missing these other guards, but really don't see any reason not to continue to eat it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love that he'd be possibly coming off the bench, but I would imagine if Hero and Burks are out, that would not be the case. I'd imagine he would end up starting.
He's still playing upwards of 40 minutes off the bench, so it really doesn't matter.
Right, I agree. Obviously, just going to feel a little bit better if he's starting. So there's also Jared Butler, similar price. He's going to be really owned too because Philly is down some guys. I think though they have Quentin Grimes there, so there's that. But no Maxey, no Oubre. They have some other bodies that are not in the mix either. So if Jared Butler starts at 5.7, I don't mind him. He doesn't get crazy minutes though, which is kind of annoying. Like 32, 31. Like, they just do not want to give him a long leash for some reason. Maybe just because they don't think he's good. I don't know. But he is okay. Certainly pivot away from Davion if you want to do that. But right now they both look chalky. What do you think about some of these other guys coming down here? Not many guys. It's mostly Malik Monk and Dennis Schroeder at 6.2. I don't think I want to do Dennis with the Pistons guards in there. What do you think about Malik?
Certainly if Keon Ellis is out, Malik would get back in the starting unit because Ellis has been starting over him for the last few games. That would make Monk look pretty good, but off the bench, Malik Monk still expensive. Like, it's a small slate. You can do things like that just to get off the board, but not really getting to him as of now. I'm getting a lot more Keon Ellis as it is, like another cheap point guard, shooting guard play, 4,300. Not a good per minute guy, but the minutes have been steady since he's been back in the starting unit. Played 39 minutes against Cleveland yesterday. So if he's in, I like Keon Ellis a lot more than Malik Monk, dollar for dollar. But that would obviously change. And then Devin Carter, I think, would be another consideration if Ellis is out. Super cheap. He's been decent per minute so far this season. Not really playing a ton of minutes as of now, but if Monk or if Ellis is out, they're probably going to have to give him a few more.
Yeah. Dare we have interest in Terry Rozier at 3.9K if some of these Heat guys are out? Because Andrew Wiggins is still on the injury report too. Burks and Hero could both be out. I mean, he would be in play. Would he not?
They really don't want to play him. No. Even without Hero in the last game, he played 4 minutes in an overtime game. So
he did play 33 the game, like not that long before that, though.
Yeah, in March. I mean, that was Eric Spoelstra's rotations are insane. I think if I would only get to Rozier if Hero and Burks are out, because I think by default he would have to get some minutes. But if one of those guys are in, I still don't want to play Rozier.
Yeah, I don't actually want to play Rozier. I'm just thinking out loud, like, at what point do we not ignore 3.9K Rozier? Because it's eventually they'd have a lack of bodies there. All right, moving on here. Shooting guard
Grimes is a pretty good play. Like,
well, he's the top of the shooting guard. He's top of shooting guard.
Well, he's that point guard also we're talking about. But
no, I know.
I just think if you're going to get different, pay up instead of paying for Hero or paying for Cade. You can just pay for Grimes, gets all the usage. The minutes should be pretty secure. Don't hate that.
Yeah, this projection feels a little bit light. It feels very much about Miami's defense and pace of play. So Quentin Grimes at 8.8 looks pretty interesting, especially with his ownership really low. Obviously not cheap, and you just never know when the rug is going to be pulled out from under us here. But in theory, Quentin Grimes looks really, really good here, especially if you buy into the whole balanced build thing. Like especially if there's no Hero and you don't want to pay for Cade, like Grimes looks really good all of a sudden. So I don't have a problem with him. Obviously, if you're talking just projection and matchup, he doesn't like jump out at you at 8.8K, but the ownership is very, very interesting. Zach LaVine at 7.8, not super into LaVine. He's been pretty assy the whole time he's been with the Kings. So like I need somebody big for the Kings to not be in for me to really get excited about LaVine. Gosh, Lonnie Walker, chalky Lonnie Walker at 5.2. The hell? I know he played like 38 minutes in his last game, but that feels bad.
Everything feels bad on this slate. So I think that is enough of a case to play Lonnie Walker. Plus, I think the versatility is pretty useful there with the guard forward stuff.
I mean, he's in my lineup that I built here, and they're down guys, no doubt about it. It just feels very bad. I do think if you're going to look for ways to get different on this slate, fading or going underweight on Lonnie Walker might be a good starting point. He's a fine play relative to slate. 2-game slate. Sixers are without bodies. He is a value, and you can play him at small forward or shooting guard. Those are all good things, and I guess Justin Edwards might also be out, so that might just solidify his minutes. But he's going to be mega owned. Is there a world where even 38-minute Lonnie Walker doesn't hit at 5.2K? Yeah, there is. So I don't mind going a little bit underweight there if you're running a lot of lineups out. But obviously right now he is a good value. Malik Beasley at 5.8. That's like an interesting pivot away from him. Obviously, he's been getting good minutes for the Pistons, 30 plus in like the last 5 or 6 games. Matchup with the Kings is good. They do not defend the 3 very well. So I think just as an ownership play, going away from Lonnie, whereas Beasley can also be had at shooting guard small forward, Beasley's going to be not nearly as owned. Like he's going to be basically unowned compared to Lonnie. So you can pair them, but I think that's honestly a decent leverage play in tourneys. You mentioned Keon Ellis. If he's in, that looks good at 4.3. With the Pistons getting a little bit healthier, I think most of the guys back. Well, Duren, you said, is questionable. Is Tobias back, though? He's also questionable, so he could be back. So if Tobias is back, I'm a little bit less interested in taking that Tim Hardaway Jr. dive. And I suppose Malik Beasley would lose some luster if that was the case. How are you feeling about those guys?
Not great, but I don't feel good about anything. I think Beasley and Hardaway are fine, but not exciting. Similar with Duncan Robinson, depending on the news.
Short of a showdown slate, this is like the worst fucking NBA slate that we've seen in a while. 2-gamer. They really sold out. Okay, so Duncan Robinson at 4K does look kind of interesting. He started the last game at 3.5. Price came up. But if there's no hero on Bam, he's probably going to start again and get good usage. He looks like a good value too. I don't mind him.
Yeah. All the same.
It's all the same. All right, moving over. I guess just I'll mention Larson. He's probably going to start 4.6. He's viable. Don't mind that. Small forward DeMar DeRozan looks pretty good. 8.3K best projection at the position. I get. How long has Andrew Wiggins been out? Should we be looking at him? He's been out since the end of March. I guess he hasn't been that long. So if there's no hero or Bam, he could have the offense all to himself. He would be interesting for sure. That would look like a smash play, and he's carrying monster ownership. Azar Thompson keeps crushing. Not super into him at 6.6 if Tobias is back, but if Tobias remains out, I do like him even at the elevated price tag. And then you have the usual suspects, Lonnie, Malik. Who's your standout here?
Probably Wiggins, just because there's really no one else to pay for, and Levine's okay, and DeRozan, but I'd just rather take the savings on Wiggins.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly make a case for, I guess the only case for Levine is that he could be like ownership leverage on a chalky Wiggins if you don't really want to play Wiggins. Like if Hero and Bam are both in, you could certainly bet on Wiggins being like somewhat limited or just like super aggressive in that first game back and then taking a shot on somebody who's just not going to be owned by comparison. As far as value goes here, Ricky Council played 3 minutes in his last game. Seems bad.
He's not good.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying he's projected for 18 minutes, so there's that, but it doesn't seem like they really want to give him any more runs.
I mean, if Edwards is out, they might give him some burn. I think Edwards himself at 5.4 is okay if he's in. His price has come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nightmare of a slate. I guess you can punt it with Ron Holland, like if Tobias is out again, but right is it?
I don't think we even have to do that. Like everything here looks like fine. Malik, Lonnie, Edwards if he's in, Duncan at 4K. I don't hate any of that. I'm just saying I'm mentioning Council because people might just say like, oh, Edwards might not play or they're down bodies and he's 4.5, like all that. But if he was out of the rotation basically here. So just be careful with Ricky Council. Like I think I would need him to start to feel good about him. Over at power forward, Bam, if he's in, looks awesome at 9.2K. I mean, relative to the slate, I think on a regular slate, I'd be like, okay, fine, we can play Bam. But really, nobody on Philly is going to stop him. He has a high usage rate. He projects pretty well. The only question is he going to play? So if he does play, he looks great. I'll probably have him in my lineups. If he doesn't play, we like Wiggins there. And then we're just like looking at nobody that feels great at power forward. A lot of guys with questionable takes here. So like, honestly, like if Keegan's out, like we could do the Trey Lyles dance. You know, if Bam's out, Kyle Anderson at 3.7K would get a boost. Like, you're not lying, man. It is gross out there for sure.
Lyles did play 40 minutes last night in a starting role with Keegan Murray out. So
there you go.
Didn't get a ton of usage. He's going to be the 5th option, but that is a pretty appealing value if we get it because the minutes seem to be pretty secure in that situation.
Yeah, well, like if Bam is out and Keegan are out again, it's like him and Slow-Mo are very similar plays. So if you had to pick between one, I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming
I would pick Lyles because I feel better about Lyles' minutes. I don't trust Kyle Anderson. He could play 2 minutes off the bench.
Yeah, not sure we would need to pair them either because what are you paying for? That's the other thing you always have to ask yourself. Some of the value is going to look good sometimes, but why are you playing these assy guys beyond saving money?
Salary on the table, generally something in NBA, but it's a lot more viable on a 2-gamer than it is on a regular slate.
For sure. All right, anybody else at power forward that you feel like mentioning?
No.
Okay. Over at center, Sabonis looks like one of the better plays of the slate. Top 3 with him and Bam, probably. Assuming he doesn't randomly scratched or listed as questionable. But he looks good. 10K against the Pistons here. Matchup's not quite as good if Duren is in, but still fine. I don't mind him. It's just like from a pure ceiling perspective, he is one of the better plays, and you're going to want to get to him because there is a good amount of value on this slate. Bam, we already talked about. Duren is questionable. If Duren is in against the Kings, he is fine at 7-3. Not super excited to play him, but the projection's decent. Just if he's out, obviously, then we're looking at Isaiah Stewart chalk night once again. He was smashed the other day at 3.5K, and now he's 4.8. Like, I'm okay going back to Isaiah Stewart at 4.8. I don't mind that. And then Adam Bana, 5.3K. They have no Drummond, no Yabu, no Joel, obviously, forever, apparently. So he looks really good, too, at 5.3. And then, of course, you were talking about it for a second there with no Bam, Khalil Ware, 6K. He looks great.
Nothing says April NBA like a 70% owned Adem Bona, but I'm going to be over the field on a 70% owned
How?
Adem
How can
Bona.
be over the field on a 72% owned guy?
You can lock him in, baby.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
I mean, the minutes are secure. He's been starting. I'm okay with it. Like, the Sixers are tanking, so they want to give a guy like that as much burn as they can. So Adem Bona is probably my favorite play on the whole slate. You can go double Bona if you want to pair him with Sabonis.
You would.
Like bone lineup. I'm not super high on Sabonis. I'm never really that high on Sabonis. I just think his ceiling for the dollar is kind of shaky. Prefer Ware as a value. Prefer Bam, Duren, guys like that. Stewart, obviously the best value on the entire slate if Duren is out again. Just He was 3-3 the other day, and he was a complete lock. Even at 4.8, he's still a complete lock. So happy to do that. I think Stewart's even playable. Since it is a small slate, if Duren is in, you can still play Stewart off the bench, and maybe Duren has foul trouble or he's limited or the game blows out. There are a lot of ways for him to get there. So I think that's doable. And then Trey Lyles, like we talked about, if Keegan Murray's out, looks like a decent value.
Agreed, sir. All right, that does it for our position by position breakdown. Let's wrap it up with your strategy. If you have one, it is 2 gamer, so pretty much anything is in play. And of course, your flag plant of the night.
Flag planting Adem Bona, like we talked about, just he's still too cheap.
Sounds like it.
He should be 6K plus probably based on this role. He's been good per minute as well, so don't have a problem with that. Probably a 2 center slate for me. I think Duren and Bam, guys like that. I want to play at the other center spot. Khalil Ware if Bam is out, especially. Ware even if Bam's in is fine because it's a 2-game slate, but that's the way I'll go. I think I'll be under on Cade Cunningham and just hope he doesn't get 65. And that's kind of where I'm at.
I think we are going against each other a little bit on this one. Like, I think Adem Bona is like a good play for sure, but if he's going to be crazy owned, don't think I'm going to lock him. I think I'm maybe going to go a little bit underweight because 70 to 80% is a lot for anybody. So I don't mind going a little bit under for sure. Wouldn't entirely fade him because he's a good value on this slate, and he's going to have a chance to get 35, 40 minutes if the game stays close. But if Bam is in there, it's a tougher matchup. And I mean, it's a Adem Bona. He could certainly fail. The other one is going to be Quentin Grimes. Like, Quentin Grimes keeps getting run, and he has a massive role. So I don't really know if I trust the ownership where it is right now. If it stays there, though, I would bet the over on his projection. And I think like an unknown Quentin Grimes is a slate breaker, possibly. I also personally would maybe consider going a little bit underweight on Andrew Wiggins. First game back, not exactly cheap. And I would need, if Hero and Bam are both in, because obviously the usage is going to go through those 2 guys, and then Wiggins maybe doesn't really live up to that chalky ownership. If that is the case, obviously it's 2 games. That does it for us. We went way too long for it being 2 games.
Yeah,
anyways.
We did.
Yeah, but I guess when it's that bad, when you have that many questionable tags, sometimes you need to do it a little bit. Hopefully this helps you out. If it does, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and come visit our Patreon and hop on in for $5.99 a month. Thanks for watching, and good luck.